there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Staples Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today, falling over my words. Today's project is is this one. It's actually a bit of a case from the catalogue, but this is my interpretation of one of the samples for the Serene Garden stamp set, or bundle, in the catalogue. So in the catalogue it uses shades of green, and I thought I would use some champagne cardstock, or champagne foil cardstock I should say, some of the new petal pink, and some very vanilla. So I've got a few hints and tips for you on how to use the dies in particular. So let's get started. Okay, one of the dies in the stamp set is this embossing die. So we're going to be using the new embossing pad that you can get, which is called, let me grab it, it's a kit really. It's the embossing mat, and you get this thick grey mat, but you also get a really thin blue one, and I mean really thin, which I've already cut by not reading the instructions, I hasten to add, and then this white plate. Now, I have now read the instructions, and I've made one or two little adjustments that I think make more sense to me. But hey, right, so as my Big Shot is currently set up for ordinary dies, I'm going to start by doing those. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a piece of scrap Whisper White, Very Vanilla, and the dies, and I'm only using one ink pad for all of this. I'm using the matching Petal Pink ink pad, which is one of our lovely new colours, and I'm going to stamp the bird, and I'm also going to stamp the butterfly. I'm doing them reasonably far apart because I want to put them through without having to cut them apart on the Big Shot. So I will just grab that and get those cut, whilst I remind you that we've got a fantastic joining promotion at the moment. So if you sign up and join my team during July, in addition to the usual £130 worth of products, you will also get to choose 10 ink pads, and that can be any one of the colour families. So it can be subtles, regals, brights, neutrals, or, and they've put this together just for the promotion, the in colours. Normally you only get those as 2 sets, but they put together a set with one number for the in colours. So that's both the new in colours and the carried over in colours. So those are our 2 bits die cut. Now the next thing I want to do is grab, but I've hidden it. I very carefully put everything down, and then of course I've covered them up. A piece of champagne foil, and I thought I'd put one out, but obviously I haven't. A matte, so the champagne foil is cut at my usual matte size, small matte size, and a piece of Very Vanilla that is cut at my usual matte size. And I'm going to run these through the Big Shot in one go using this kind of odd leaf die, and that's just going to go through the normal sandwich. I am going to put a piece of paper over the top of this, because with foil I do try and protect the foil from my cutting plate, because it's not always the smoothest thing in the world. So and foil does have a tendency to take on whatever it rubs up against. So hopefully that has cut nicely. Whoops! Oh, and it has picked up a bit of the cutting plate, but it's fine because it's going to go through again. So it's all going to be fun. So that's the bits that are cut out from that, and I've also cut them out from this because this is going to be the mat that we layer everything up onto. So rather than gutting a frame, where because we've got these holes you just need to cut a narrow frame, I thought I'd do the whole thing in one. So that's that. Now, the next thing to do is to line this up to use on the embossing folder, embossing mat. So that's going to line up like that. Now, theoretically, this is all supposed to go in a particular order, and I'm going to use the order more or less. So your standard Big Shot platform, and then you should use a cutting plate, then your blue mat, and then your white embossing plate. But if you do it that way round, oh, and this would sit that way up, which for this, actually for this it might work. No, it might work. The thing that worries me is that I can't then see if this has moved, because it's hidden, it's all like that. So I don't like that, and actually I'm not going to do it that way. So I'm going to put the white mat down, then the blue, then my die, no, then my card, then my die, then a piece of paper to protect my foil a bit, and then my cutting plate, because my theory is that the sandwich doesn't know which way up it is. So why does it matter? And it goes through really easily, so it's not going to force anything anyway. So hopefully we then get, yay, a beautifully embossed, and yes, it has picked up the outline of the previous cutting folder. It, you know what, it did on the sample in the catalogue as well, so it's fine, it's not a problem. And there's our embossed die. So clear that lot away, and now let's get the rest of this finished. Now I have done a bit of preparation because obviously I made one before. I'm going to use the Stampin' Up because now what I need to do is I need to get this onto the card base. So all I did was I layered up my these two bits, stuck the stamp, I'm sorry, it's the heat, stuck the stamp on, which goes on really easily because it's embossed already, and being photopolymer on foil sticks quite nicely, and lined the stamp up that way. So now I know that if I put my card base in there, I can just ink up, let's pop that properly in, I can just ink up my stamp, which you'll have to trust me I am doing off camera because I don't have a big enough space. Bring that in, and then this should end up in the right place when we put the whole thing together. Famous last words. I'm just going to stamp that again because I can, because it's the Stamparatus. And there we go. So I don't need my Stamparatus anymore. This is just there because I don't want to then get ink onto my pad. So let's pop that away for the moment. Close up my ink pad because I don't want that to dry out, and pop this all together. So fold my card base and burnish that. Then I've got my foil piece and my mat, so those will line up beautifully because they were cut as one. So I'm going to add some multi-purpose adhesive to the back of my foil. Don't need a huge amount. And then because we've got wiggle room, because it's the multi-purpose adhesive, we can get that lined up perfectly like that. Turn it over and give it a good rub. So that's all beautifully lined up. Then we just need some dimensionals on the back. obviously avoid the holes. There's nothing worse than a dimensional sticking out through a hole. And take the backings off. Where are we on time? Good heavens, we're only at 10 minutes. Wow. Okay, that's all right then. So yes, the other promotion that is going on as well at the moment, as well as the joining offer where you get 10 free stamp sets, ink pads even. Sorry, I'm just going to line this up so that I can see the stamped leaves through. It's not quite as well lined up as the previous one. I can only suppose that this card base is slightly different size. Something's moved, but you get the general idea. And so we also have a designer series paper sale. So if you want any of the what I would call normal designer series papers, so not the specialty designer series paper and not the colour family 6x6 but the other 6x6, then all you have to do is for every 3 you buy you get to choose a 4th for free. So it's ideal. And then we can add, pum, 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 if I could find my, there it is, piercing tool. Add some little pearls. Where should we have them? Should we just, these are the artisan pearls, which are beautiful, and one of the shades is petal pink. So there we are. So this is the one we've just made in the heat. This is the one I made earlier, which is a little bit better positioned, I accept. Yes, it's because this card is slightly longer, so everything's further up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it interesting, and found the tips about how to do the embossing and also how to cut the open leaves. I hope you found those helpful. If you don't already subscribe, it's in the bottom right hand corner. Just hit that subscribe button, and also if you hit the little bell when you hit subscribe, there'll be, if you go over to my page, my YouTube channel page, you'll find there's a little bell. If you click that as well, you'll be notified when I put a new video up. If you pop over to my website, which is linked immediately below, you'll find the dimensions and a list of everything I've used. And there you will also be able to sign up for an email notification when I post, and also for my newsletter, which I do send out all the information about new promotions in that newsletter. So both the July promotion and the designer series paper promotion have already gone out in the newsletter, so it's worth signing up to those. If you want to buy anything, I would be really so grateful if you would buy from me on my online store. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!